And here we come, folks. It's the season finale of Legend of Korra, Book 2. Here it is, the big two-parter, where people were watching either to really see how this would end, or people who just wanted to see this through to the end out of a sense of, well, we've come this far.
Obligation.
And also the people who really just had to see how a plot involving Dark Avatar would turn out. So, let's begin with the first half. This is Chapter 13, Darkness Falls. You know the drill, folks. Start at the Nickelodeon logo. We'll eventually have an intermission on this video. And Tio will, of course, give you the timestamps and whatnot in the description. So, without further ado, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, click. So,
this is the episode does this mean Unalak will obtain the anti-life equation?
Now, okay.
This is the episode where the darkness darks the light.
Well, it's called Darkness Falls. Wouldn't that imply that darkness loses? Or would it mean that darkness falls in the sense that darkness falls across the world like a curtain?
Yeah, like a curtain. That's the figure they were going for.
That were the case, shouldn't that be the... Shouldn't they switch the titles around?
Who knows? Maybe episode 14 is just a big epilogue. Something to help the pace and whatnot.
No. It's just the crew of Avatar dancing around, giving the finger.
In the meantime, Mazami is still nothing but a taxi driver.
Now, Now, to address something.
Flying bison driver. Sorry.
Now, to address something. When it comes to the quality of these seasons, it's not entirely just about who writes what episodes. Oh god.
But it converges upon us
Hey!
again.
And you stay there until you learn some respect.
Yes, because that prison.
Think about what you've done.
Hey, I'll give Korra credit. At least she actually stops them from fusing right there and then, unlike Iro in the movie, who can't stop a guy who's standing right next to him. That's a good idea.
Holding a knife to a fish.
Hey, that's actually a smart idea. Throwing him out of the spirit world.
Jova, I have a question.
What?
Why is Unalak even helping Vaatu? What does he even gain from all this?
He gets unlimited power and gets to be the Avatar. Anyway, meanwhile, Tenzin is looking for his daughter.
Okay, so basically he's nothing but a power-hungry asshole. Okay.
Again, I'll go more into why, because we do have a bit of things to cover here. But yeah, it's like I said, Unalak started off as someone who at least seemed like they were trying to have somewhat be morally gray until they made him blatantly evil.
Seriously.
Basically, he wants to use his tracking knowledge, but it won't work here because...
I get that siblings argue, but this is starting to get annoying.
It's just...
How do you know that?
Please don't tell me it's a joke. Pain.
Get off! I want pictures of Spider-Man who will get lost.
But where can we get a spirit guide? Maybe somebody in that tree.
Oh my god, Jove, I just remember, he told us that he wants...
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Don't tell me it's the centipede demon.
No,
I wish.
It's one of the magical stars from Mario.
God.
Oh, it's not him.
You're close enough.
It's a Luma from Super Mario Galaxy?
Yeah,
It looks more like... It looks more... Jesus Christ. It looks more like Starfy.
The giant spirit spider.
His were a scorpion, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right, it's a scorpion. Joe, I just remembered though.
Yeah.
He said he wanted to destroy the world, and once again, I repeat, what's the point in destroying the world, Unalak? What do you gain from it?
Well, actually, Pedro, that's what the character said he wanted to do, because the episode later, he says he just wants to unite the entire world under his control.
So wait, he wants to destroy the world and unite the world?
Yeah.
How does that make any sense?
Don't you see, Pedro? It's like a jigsaw puzzle. He wants to smash it up so he can put it together again.
There is another bit of history to cover with this, and I'm going to let you guys know this is by no means an excuse for how the show turned out. However, it has gone on record to say that Brian and Mike were actually originally promised an entire season's worth of shows for this season. But for some
24 episodes, yeah.
For some reason, this
14.
Yeah, this is actually completely on Nickelodeon because we have absolutely jack squat idea why. Like, the ratings for the first season were fine enough. this was the time to improve or whatnot. But for some reason, Nickelodeon kind of chopped it down to 14. And again, they had to adapt it. Granted, the difference is that here they had better planning time. I'm not going to say it's the main reason because that would be a cop-out, but I won't deny it might have been part of the reason. Again, whereas Season 1 felt like it was rushing with its plot, this season feels like a very complex story where, yes, if you get the full 24 episodes, it could have worked out, but having to adapt it, it's clear that it's not an adaptable plan. Mainly in the sense like, well, you kind of change up this thing or that, you've got a mess on your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
Because the way to describe this is like, well, it feels like this plot was very complex, but because there's multiple writers going on, one little step out of here or there could trip it up.
I like this joke. Hold on, I actually like this joke.
Did you just talk to?
Trust the fungus.
Yes, hold on too.
Oh my
All right,
god.
there's gonna be yeah.
Is this Iroh's voice actor from Series 3 of the original?
Yeah.
He sounded like Miko.
As you can see, he had time to perfect it.
Well, plus I think actually no, it was a bit later on. He replaced Marco during that season of Samurai Jack.
Makes sense.
Yeah, he also was in the final season of Samurai Jack, wasn't he?
Yes.
Like I said, it makes sense, since he's such a good Mako sound-alike.
You can end up in the deep web.
What are they? No, just be like Red and
And
surf the web or something.
I guess being a spirit allows you to be like Batman. Good for you,
The
because I have
Daily
no clue.
Bugle.
Too bad I don't care. Oh no, the tentacle porn now.
I already called it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen firebenders breathe fire out of their mouths like dragons.
Dwibs, plenty of firebenders have done that. Zuko's...
Yeah, I distinctly remember someone doing it.
Zuko's done it. Iroh perfected it. That's why he was called the Dragon of the
Azul.
West.
Azul, I think.
Oh yeah, Azul did that when she was completely
You
nuts.
will never
too.
win, giant evil
Oh,
kite.
so haven't some of them used them as part of performances as well?
And
Yeah,
and
Like
she's winning.
festivals
Gotta
and
be a-
such.
Well, there's got to be a
Yeah,
reason
I'm
for
not
this
buying
to
it.
work. Let me guess. Farsi
Meanwhile,
just
back
broke
outside.
down.
No,
Outside,
Unalak will
fuck
come
off.
in at the last second. Come out and play.
Yeah, I'm sure that a megalomaníacal villain is just gonna go.
Oh
home.
no.
Oh.
Even
Oh.
worse, he had some help.
Of course.
He had these two.
His kids.
Why did you have
His
to arrive with a
creepy
tide?
kids.
If you let them escape this time, I will make sure I can tell one of you apart. And trust me, you will not like it. Yeah. Wake up, spirits, please. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another fine mess you've gotten us into.
He actually does
Java.
have a plan here.
Okay, we'll be eaten and then we'll
Oh.
Actually, I don't know. We'll just be eaten.
A place where you will be lost.
Well, lost souls, yeah. And they died.
You can't
Well,
die
that
while you're in
was-
the... Actually, can you die while you're in the spirit world?
Tenzin
Maybe-
just can't catch a break, can he?
Maybe Jova, it's like in DBZ where if you die in the afterlife,
she
you
got
die
attacked
forever.
from behind.
She almost had it.
What a surprise.
Ow.
Of course, trying to seal the embodiment of darkness takes a lot out of you.
Even when you're in the avatar state. Okay, especially when you're in the avatar state, because we've established that does take a
Yeah.
lot out of you, no matter what you do.
And you're very vulnerable.
You nearly firebent me, you arsehole!
Time to go.
Oh, that was easy.
What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? No.
Don't you
Oh,
mean
shit.
freeze?
Alright,
Yeah,
everyone,
well,
chill.
Yeah,
That
sorry.
that would have been too cheesy.
Yeah, otherwise we had Batman and Robin all over again.
And there you
Oh,
go.
crud.
Alright, let's see how edgy this shit can get.
Well, he's got red eyes other than white.
Has he got a
mark-
scar anywhere?
No.
He has a mark on his chest.
Wait, is this it in terms of the design?
Oh,
No, hold on.
Oh
hold on.
no, but he's not done.
Yeah.
Oh,
Excuse me.
please,
it'll take me a while.
Tell me it becomes like Aluela Faluela.
No, there's actually a design to this thing, at least. It looks
Is there?
silly. Hold on, you'll see.
Okay.
ooh. And he knows all the elements right out the gates, even though Rava and Juan had to actually
Okay,
get those
I can
elements.
chalk up to this to the fact that Vatu has grown so much in power because of all the chaos, so it's technically much more powerful than Rava.
Meanwhile, back at the 85th
That doesn't explain
fight,
knowing all the elements, though.
Oh, here we go.
It's just like the stone tablets predicted.
It's a spirit prison of sorts.
So basically, they're inside.
Hey, just in time.
Oh, Zhao?
Hi, Jason Isaacs. Yeah,
Wait,
this
Shao
is...
prison here?
Remember, Tio, he got killed by a spirit, so of course he was sent here.
Hey, remember me from the original series?
So basically, when Zhao died, he went mental.
He's
Well,
trapped
but
forever
it's-
in what was supposed to be his
No,
moment of glory.
Well, actually, no. Actually, no, too. Not part of the title. Here.
So they got Jason Isaacs back for that.
Mm-hmm.
Great, great.
Well,
There's-
five lines.
Yeah, about 10 lines of Jason Isaacs and bye.
And just all that for a pathetic joke.
Not really a joke. I mean, it's just to show, hey, this is what happened to him. Kind of like with that professor in the library. That said, I do wish that they'd done more with it. Like,
Question: why can't you use
So,
airbending to
basically-
dispel the fog?
So basically, Pedro, this is what it'd be like if they played that game from Square recently that you played for the channel.
you
And
know,
now, Teo, finally, the ultimate battle, the light avatar versus the dark avatar. Who will win this epic bad?
well, I guess so far he's only using water.
I'm
Maybe.
more concerned about a couple of things. Like, it's been stated pretty much that Vatu, both Vatu and Rava will regenerate, so there cannot be a clear victor unless something drastically is changed. And I
Why not
cannot
use?
hold on, and I cannot picture Korra stealing Unalak again in the tree. So I have no idea how this is gonna end.
And Korra dies.
So
And,
what about the Aurora Borealis? Why not use that?
Yeah, that's
They-
kind of got a time limit.
Oh, hi, Rava.
wow, those walls are sure
Yeah.
taking their time crushing her.
You know, I know this is because of Redcon stuff, but the fact that Rava never spoke to Aang during his crisis moments is just bullshit.
Sorry, I had to use the Avatar state as a torch. That'd be quite a unique thing, going into the Avatar state purely just to be a torch.
You know, it's really funny now that I think about it. Because, as you'll recall earlier, I mentioned a fanfiction that did the whole concept of an evil avatar thing better. It also did the concept of Zhao returning as a dead spirit better, too. What? A
Maybe he has
coinkydink.
darkest fear, so they see Jinora dead.
Cannibals. Oh yeah, he's starting to go mad. Stop out of it, damn it!
Again, I question why can't
Okay,
he use
I get-
airbending to dispel
okay,
the
I get-
fog?
I get why it wouldn't be effective.
Tio, it's spiritual fog. It's not that
Okay,
easy.
Use then airbending to propel yourself up the fog.
Well, that's the thing. We can only find Jinora
guess,
within the fog.
I guess it's not affecting Tenzin as much because Airbender.
Wait for
Give
it.
it time.
I did say as much.
Oh,
Oh,
there you
never,
go.
never,
There you
never mind,
go.
Jova. Never mind, Jova. He can do it.
Ah,
But only for a
See?
short time.
Exactly.
Well, maybe he can protect himself inside
the
a
very-
water. Sorry, an airbending.
At the
bubble
very
of
least,
some
he
sort.
tried. Dude, come on.
Yeah, we must think. Yeah, maybe perhaps we should rethink our
Your
position.
priorities, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And Boland's completely lost trying to make sense out of this.
Wait for it.
Liar.
Those acting skills come in handy, I see.
Well, yeah, we have established he's trying to be an actor on.
Oh, this bit.
Claude.
You know, you're just prolonging your inevitable death.
Yeah, you ripped off the plot of Run Fat Boy Run. Why would you do that? Let me guess. That's like a line from a script of one of his movies.
I wish I could see the red panda shooting lasers right now.
How sweet.
Symbolic.
I guess.
Yeah, but
But
How cute.
it's like a moaning Myrtle offering to share her toilet with Harry Potter.
yeah,
Get over it, bowling. She's not for you.
you're better off without her.
Oi. With how many times we've exited and re-entered the spirit world, we might as well make it something of a relay event.
It's like a revolving door.
It's a race now. It's a relay race. The first person to get to the spirit world and back will win.
I mean, okay, I know it's
So
somewhat...
much great animation and action choreography wasted.
Oop, got your arm. You know, I know that, it's technically an inconvenience to go all the way back and forth between the North and South Pole, but man, would it have been nice to know that there's a way to go into the spirit world without losing your bending in the original show. It's like a game of tug of war.
Well, it's like a fair ride. I guess in the advancements of time can make you realize more stuff, and there's more experimental people.
Oh.
Oh.
What the fuck?
I've decided, you know what? Fuck you, I don't need you.
Energy? No.
What the fuck? Oh, energy bending.
I think? Oh wait, no, he's just taking Rava out of her. Because you can do that, apparently.
Brilliant.
Now, I know you can see that they haven't established what the lore is when another avatar faces another avatar, but this just goes to show why you don't rush out something
And
like
he's
a dark
imprisoning
avatar
her
in the
instead.
last 2 episodes.
But Jova, we were promised more than this, damn it.
Yes, they were. God dang it. I would have loved to have seen what it would have been like without it. But
Fear is the mind killer.
keep telling yourself that. Hey, yeah, Tenzin actually has more of an arc than Korra. Thanks for
Yeah,
reminding me,
just show the greatest fear where he fails everyone. Come on, obvious.
Uh-oh.
So this is what would happen if J. Jonah Jameson had 2 split personalities, one that loves Spider-Man and the other hates him.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened.
Oh, hello.
Hey, Aang.
Hi, Ang.
Don't worry, son. It's not your fault. It's the writers.
Oh.
Be your own man, please. We don't
You are who you choose to be. Now choose.
choose.
Look inside yourself. Don't you see? He lives in you.
Yeah, I've got a better beard than he does anyway.
Hey, he's finally got
uh,
some spiritual mojo now that he finally managed to let go of it.
So now he can see, where's the other one? Oh,
There
it is.
it is.
Now hurry, the fog will re-emerge soon.
Well, that trip to
Okay.
Silent Hill was weird.
Alright, can Tenzin from this point on in the show get actual fucking dignity?
Yes, starting with season 3.
It's like
This is
a couple episodes away.
It's,
So.
it's a shame we had to endure all of this to finally get to that point.
I know,
Oh, a
right?
butterfly.
Don't you mean Dark Souls?
Get good.
We can't use that, I'm afraid.
Yay, butterflies! Take a look, it's in a book, it's reading Rainbow.
Oh yeah, that's right. This is still going.
So, now what? You know,
Yes,
this
Korra is
this
aware
ki-
of this.
This kind of reminds me of the typical ending of a Power Ranger seasons where the Megazord gets destroyed, the Rangers get their power
Yeah.
stripped, and they're forced to fight the bad guy Baron.
Don't you see Teo? Don't you see Teo?
Oh,
Mm,
wait, here we go. Okay, you thought things were dramatic before? What's this?
You ain't got your spirit.
He's going to kill every single past avatar in Rava. Down to ground zero.
How
How
is
does
that
that
possible?
No idea.
Water slashes, I don't know.
He does this by throwing water at Rava again.
But don't you see, Pedro? Now he's the dark,
Dark
avatar.
water.
So now his water is super
Dark
powered up.
water.
Honestly,
Ugh.
honestly, doing it one at a time is really inconvenient, doesn't it? Wait, just to do
You
it all
know,
at once.
Green just shows that a dark water type is not that, edgy.
And by one.
So we basically reset everything now.
Yeah, let's just stay.
He literally just
Oh.
destroyed the entire lore of this that the original series took so long to build. Thanks, show. Thanks.
This butterfly will help you.
What?
Remember,
I must
I'm
go
the,
now. My planet needs me.
remember, I'm the chosen one for some reason, so I must go and solve the plot
Okay,
problem.
this is where Janora apparently. Oh, right.
Oh boy, here we go.
There you go, Shiro. You wanted a more.
Make my monster grow.
There you
Well,
go, Shiro. Do you
There's
like
a
that?
design.
Look at that. It looks so silly.
Wow, family reunions are gonna be awkward.
Especially Christmas dinners. It's chaos! I mean, the Final Fantasy one.
Oh,
Yes, yet another Final Fantasy villain checklist.
Can he
too.
be voiced by Keith David, please?
No.
He's voiced by.
What is he doing?
Pulling the light out of the sky.
He's going to the
Voices-
real world now to wreak havoc.
The only thing missing is that he is him winning, like Kaya's in 13-2.
So
Oh,
who voices-
by all points,
Wow.
this is actually what happened in this episode.
So who voices Dark Guy then?
God, we mentioned him in a previous commentary. He's the same guy who
Yeah.
voices Galactus in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom
okay.
3 and a lot of
Ah,
other stuff.
Alright.
Still.
Whatever.
Alright
Jesus
then.
fuck.
So,
Okay.
we've wrecked the entire lore.
Alright, I think that was a
Joba,
good.
Joba, are you sure Joshua Hamilton's not a pseudonym for Stephen Moffat?
I don't know. I honestly
I
don't
guess
know.
something to get similarities, yeah.
Now, before we go into the intermission, I'm going to point out how that fanfiction did both concepts of evil Avatar and dead Zhao better. Basically, without going too much into depth, Basically, Book 4 Air is about what happens when someone else, in this case Azula, is given the ability to energy bend, and thus takes the ability of the Avatar away from Aang. Aang's only able to get that later through bits that, well, essentially has to do with some mojo established in that book. It actually reads out well. That thing is incredibly long, so it's well rented. I am sorry that I cannot remember which one in specific, because there's a trillion Book 4 Air commentaries. So basically, long story short, Azula also gets the ability to be an Avatar, but she has to learn it properly. Meanwhile, Zhao comes back as a spirit to try and get revenge, and he has the ability to possess people. Which begs the question, if you're going to bring Zhao back, why not have a subplot where he is trying to defeat Tenzin, since he's trapped in that moment? You had the moment gift wrapped to him. Something similar does occur in Book 4 Air, granted it's with the original cast, since that was made back in 2008. My point being is like, well, this feels so eerily similar, well, in concept anyway, to that fanfiction. I'm shocked that they couldn't have come up with something better. And again, maybe it's because they got time crunched with how much they could do it. It's just, man, something like a Dark Avatar should have been good. It's like I said, in the original show, they were able to make stupid-sounding things actually pretty awesome. You know, a lot of the concepts in the original show sounded like fanfiction from the get-go, but when you actually put it to the execution, it rang out pretty well that you could take it seriously. Even the infamous energy bending, for as much as people debate about that being, you know, a cop-out or a Deus Ex Machina or whatnot, even the energy bending feels like it does have some basis, and admittedly, Book 2 does give that more. So, speaking of Deus Ex Machinas, not going to say we're going to have a Deus Ex Machina in the finale, but ladies and gentlemen, after this intermission, get ready for the finale!
Of my
Yay.
patience.
Yay!
See you then.
See you then.
Yeah, in a sec.
Okay, so we've wrecked the entire series lore. We've reduced some characters to one-note versions of themselves. Again, like I said at the end of the last part, are you sure Stephen Moffat didn't write this?
It, you know, in hindsight, it really does feel like it now that I know more about who that guy actually is.
And he also wrote good stories before.
Yeah.
That's another similarity. Anyway, welcome to the finale of Book 2 of Legend of Korra, Light in the Dark. I believe we'll hope there is, because if this is a good
Epic.
I contemplated just giving up.
Again, nobody blames you.
Also, again, you're halfway there.
Ah,
Halfway there.
Halfway there.
Halfway there.
alright then, everyone ready? You know the
Starting
drill.
with the
Yeah,
Nickelodeon
start the
logo.
Nickelodeon logo, or just wait a
Yeah.
few seconds if it's not at the beginning of your copy.
In 3,
Go ahead.
2, 1, click. A little something about the writers here. I'm not always of the belief that, you know, it matters of how much the writers were involved, because Mike and Brian, as we've seen, can write good stories and concepts, which, you know, at their bases, even books 1 and 2 of this series have had good overall concepts and whatnot. The problem with book 1 was, well, they got uber involved to the point where you could tell it was their pet project, their baby, and I could see why they were defensive of it. You know, I mean, they were probably blinded with the fun of being back in it, and you know, it was a bit clumsy. You know, sometimes first seasons can be. This more so than the original series because it had less, so we still had hopes. The problem is that in book 2, they really took it to the nth degree. And while nowadays we do know that part of the reason they defended it was because, well, they had to cover for Nickelodeon, sort of in a way of how Capcom had to cover for Marvel in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Still doesn't excuse a lot of the stupid stuff they said and did. The thing is, like, well, Mike and Brian did actually construct the stories of season 3 and 4, which are much more well-beloved. However, it's noticeable that they wrote quite a few less episodes, but I don't think that that's necessarily the key here and there. My think is like, well, I think with season 3 and 4, they actually did do about a self-reflection with how bad things were getting after the season. Like, look, let's think about this. On paper, a lot of this stuff, like a giant kaiju approaching the city, sounds awesome. Like, okay, let's compare. In the finale of, oh, hey, General Iroh, you're still here, I forgot. Now let's compare this. In the finale of book 1 of the original series, we also had a giant kaiju. That was awesome. Here we have something similar. This doesn't feel as awesome. Why? Because of the context and the build-up here and there. And I can see why they would have been disillusioned, because, it feels like at this point they were desperate, because this also started another trend. Let's see how much we can top ourselves with making these big, blown-out finales.
Of course. You just couldn't resist it.
That's that one moment is basically the entire representation of the entire show. Good job.
Pretty much, yeah. Insult to injury.
Alright, this is the bit where Tenzin gets to make his big
Okay,
contribution for Season 2.
I get what they were trying to go for, establish him as a huge threat.
The problem is that they kind of overdid it at this point.
Tenzin gets to do something.
Oh yes, this is where he gets to contribute actually quite notably, starting with this.
Initiating scanning procedure.
Kind of is like that.
Like a robot. Yes, but she decided to...
But Tenzin didn't technically do that.
Oh yeah, the whole Janora knowing stuff here and there.
He tried his hardest, bless him.
So yeah, now it's time to Janora to take over and become the new hero.
No, she won't be showing up till later. Okay, I have no idea why Janora's all of a sudden wise. She knows what's going on. Like, maybe she learned something while she was in that coma. Maybe she... Oh, wait, or did she get something from the library? Oh, right, that book. Okay.
Oh, yeah, about that.
Never mind, there was that small bit. It's just her persona changes to the point where she is way more wise and knowing. I get that it's to establish her arc that she'll get in Season 3, but like many things, Season 2 did it sloppily.
When she said the last Avatar, I kept thinking that's like how someone messes up.
Also, honestly, that's still bullshit. Again, it has been stated that if one spirit destroys the other regenerates anyway in a few time, I guess.
Here's the problem, Tio. It's during harmonic convergence. That's kind of the 11th hour. When harmonic convergence ends, that's when things get screwy.
No, I know, but that's the thing, Jova. The only real quote-unquote stake is just the human race, because the spirits will reform and the world will sow again. The only major loss will be the human civilization.
In the case of Rava, she stands the risk of apparently permanently dying during harmonic convergence. I really don't get
Honestly, they did not establish that. I thought they were pretty clear with the rules.
It's honestly really unclear at this point.
That's the thing too. I don't think they even care about following their own rules.
No, actually, that's not what I'm... Oh, okay then.
I think that they do care. The problem is that they've lost the focus, like, at this point.
This entire climax is just to distract us about how shitty the plot is.
Didn't really do much considering the complaints people had.
Oh great, Varian, please save me.
They killed Jeff Bennett. How dare they?
Oh no!
We interrupt this program to give you breaking news.
So
this
is that
bit?
the reason?
Oh, fucked.
Ferric, I love you.
What are you doing?
Hang on. One minute he's a bad guy, and then the next minute...
It's like a flying squirrel.
Jova, can he just turn facing heel on a dime now?
He's
a switch in his head.
Dwibs, he's escaping from prison. That doesn't have to do anything with switching sides.
No, he keeps going, I'm a bad guy, I'm good, bad, good.
No, you have. It's just you haven't been allowed to do anything.
Yeah, let's let the show actually try
The
that.
script wouldn't let you.
Yeah, let's be quite honest. Sure, Tenzin wouldn't have been able to get into the spirit world, technically. Of course, now that he's more in tune with his spiritual side, arguably he can. Even with that aside, if Tenzin had been in the plot for more so, he'd have been able to point out how Unoako's clearly evil. But, enough about that. This is the bit where Tenzin gets to contribute, and this is actually one of the few bits that makes sense.
I just wanted to show you how proud it was.
Okay. So, Yggdrasil, okay.
The great cosmic energy of the universe. I don't know how, but that line always sounds a bit funny to me. The universe is cosmic.
Hey, look, a clip show!
But Jove, I thought that wasn't until season 4.
Look at all these great memories from the past seasons.
Well, the past season.
Don't you see, Korra? You've always had the power inside you.
Doesn't sound too different from you, except for the smart part.
I think the only bit of smart I remember from seeing from Korra is when she faked being electrocuted in that metal prison.
Well, Jova, that and the other the whole we haven't seen Korra defend the helpless all that much throughout this show, have
She did that a fair enough bit in season 1, and it actually was part of her better judgment, and she's wanted to do that in season 2.
we?
Well, the problem is, like, the audience, you kept getting pulled aside for
Yeah.
like different side plots. Well, that and she flipped the table over, but
And there you go, Korra. You really should have trusted Tenzin.
you should have learned that from the start. But
You're lucky he hasn't given up on you, honestly.
I'll say. It's like the show was afraid to focus on Tenzin because they were afraid, oh, we focus on him too much, saying,
Oh,
son...
hold on. Yeah, there you go. That's just what I meant.
have they established how long it would take for him to regrow?
No idea. I guess the stake is that, you know...
A few minutes.
Isn't this the place where Aang went in order to... Yeah, there you go.
Oh, hello.
And it's thanks to Tenzin that Korra can finally complete an integral bout of her training.
Honestly, it looks like Korra's about to go bowling.
Alright, let's see what these powers can do.
Let me guess. She shines a light at the bad guy.
Okay.
Hello, giant Korra.
And now it's time for a giant kaiju fight.
Yes, that's
Sure,
right,
why
folks. Let's tune in for Pacific Rim Korra.
There you go, Dwebs. This is what we've turned this into. Pacific Rim.
Oh wait,
I
this
didn't
line
really-
coming up.
I didn't even really like Pacific Rim.
Well, too bad. You're getting you're getting animated Pacific Rim now.
So yeah, days out of Korra. I guess Korra meditating in that tree did a lot.
I thought animated was Pacific Rim was Evangelion.
Well, I haven't seen it.
No, don't
so I
flash me.
can't,
Unfortunately, though, simply winning will not bring back Rava, Korra.
It's not about winning. It's about well, fuck it. It's about winning. I kinda
Also,
forget
I've
what it
seen
is,
this
but-
particular fight, a part of it, but I never knew where it came from.
We've seen this fight somewhere.
Laser.
Be
I'm a
more.
fire remotely.
Really, we're doing this.
We don't need cards. We're going to the battle of ancient Egyptian laser beams.
Oh my God, she's winning.
How long is there left of this episode?
Oh my god.
You know,
Well,
of-
I've
I'm
seen it, so
there.
it's-
you know.
I'm
and-
sorry, but that's just all of this just looks silly to me.
I mean, it's like I said. Let's compare this to the ending of Book 1. Yes, that kaiju on its own would have been silly. The thing is that had a lot of build-up to it. And even then it wasn't perfect. Essentially, the ocean spirit is pissed off that the moon spirit was also killed. But it was something that made sense, you know, Avatar state mixing with it. Here, wow, I do appreciate that Tenzin does do this or that. Oh god, she was trying to finger...
She can't delete the bending because, well,
She can't find Rava in there, sadly.
Laser.
And wow, that was a short fight.
so what are the other 12 minutes going to go towards then?
Alright, her physical body is still there. If it gets destroyed, we have a problem.
At least it gives a chance to the side character to do something.
It's like the Matrix now. We have to defend the body, otherwise it'll fuck everything up.
That looked like it
Yeah.
hurt.
tentacles will destroy you.
Wait, is that
Is it
spirit
my turn to-
bending? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's spirit bending. Only now it's purple evilish because I guess that corrupts spirits.
Yeah.
You
Purple
know,
is
for a
evil,
season
which
called
is good.
spirit bending wasn't really touched up on as much as I thought it would be.
Yeah, it still doesn't explain to me how Unalak is able to spirit bend.
And as far as I know, is spirit bending an extension of water bending?
Fuck,
I have
Just
no
like-
idea.
Fuck explaining things. We've got a kaiju fight.
Oh, thanks, Eska.
Again, the obsession of this series to make waterbenders so OP is beyond me. You got the wrong one.
I was over here.
Aubrey Plaza, you are too good for this.
I'm not sure what about this you view as romantic, but sure.
It's one of those spur of the moments.
Yeah, desperation, adrenaline.
And
Oh,
the-
here's our Deus Ex
Hey,
Machina.
look, guys! It's a Genora Ex Machina.
and I kid you not, guys, the fan base still to this day does not know what Janora is about to do.
Yeah, just check this out.
She's Jesus, pretty
Watch.
much.
She drops down in front of
I
him
have
like she's the
died for
effect
your
of a trap
sins.
card. Then she illuminates the light, and I
No,
guess
please don't flash me.
I guess maybe that distracts him enough, but that's not all it does.
Is light.
And yet somehow what Janora did is able to make Rava within Batu now appear. So
Why can't I
Wait,
just do
what?
it? Why can't I just try the trick again?
I don't even. I don't
Jova,
even.
this is what we call closed heart surgery.
Jova, what was stopping him just doing the tentacle attack again before Korra had a chance to attack?
Something Janora did. I don't know.
I
What was
don't.
even- What
This
was even
doesn't
the
make
point
any-
of-
You still can't see
And
properly.
now, for the climactic finish, what does Korra do to defeat Unoak and Batu? The very thing Unoak did in the first episode of this season. Spirit bending.
To answer your question,
And
Vince,
wait, hold on. Wait for
Greta being
it.
foiled by the power of love?
No, it's just spirit bending. Wait for it.
Light. But
Too
why?
much light, it burns.
The animation is pretty.
So there you go. We defeated him with
Wait
the
for
power
it.
of Kingdom Hearts.
Watch. Wait, come on. Say the line. Just exactly what Unalak said the first time he spirit bended on the show.
Yeah,
Um,
we can't say rest in peace. Because,
This is nice, but doesn't the rule of reforming in a couple of time, still applies?
Nah, he's
Also to
gone.
Batu?
No, he's gone. The world is back in balance
Oh.
now, apparently.
somehow.
It is somehow back in balance, even though Vatu is pretty much gone and Rava's still around. So technically, shouldn't this be like the bad ending where Galeem takes over?
Yeah.
Ladies
but
and gentlemen.
He's gonna regrow eventually, isn't he?
Ladies and
Um,
gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, this season is officially given up. They clearly don't even care about making any kind of sense whatsoever. So here, have a pretty light show.
but guys, we still have a bit of a time limit because Korra has to refuse with Rava before harmonic convergence ends. Otherwise, I guess Rava will die out. I don't know. Oh, hey, Janora.
She
You
might as well just say,
know-
"I am Jesus" every
You
time
know,
she comes on
Janora,
the
it's
screen.
nice that you're gonna be a better character.
I am Jesus.
You know, Korra, Janora, it's nice that you're gonna be a
Why
better
did Nora always has to
Yes,
disappear?
Jova?
Janora, it's nice that you're gonna be a better character in season 3 and 4. I can attest to that. But man, you had no idea what you were. Well, whoever wrote you had no idea what you were supposed to do this entire season.
Oh, there you go.
Hi, you two.
I helped back at Republic City.
And Azami was completely useless.
She drove the boat.
Yay!
taxi driver.
Yeah, but they could get anyone to do that.
Remind me again, Joe, but wasn't Azami supposed to be part of the new Team Avatar?
What? You know, Asami was supposed to be Mako's girlfriend again before Korra came back with the
And
convenient
look at
memory.
that. Rava is now super big. There you go.
Well, she's. Oh, right. We gotta add on some tragedy, but to that later.
Wait, what?
You'll see.
I'm now spirit surfing, I guess.
Literally. Just in the nick of time.
Yeah, we gotta get rid of the purple filter.
So I guess the rest of the world were just chilling during all that, I guess.
Ugh. God.
Although I guess they still got the whole. It's oh I see. It's like a starting the Avatar cycle all over again from scratch.
Yeah.
So all the previous incarnations are permanently deleted.
Let's wait and see.
It's like the Cybermen. Delete, delete, delete.
There is logic in what he says.
Riz. The truth.
I think the Civil War is gonna be over.
Who cares about your movies?
Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, if
We don't give a shit.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
He basically just used them for his own ends. So.
Oh God.
Hey, at least the villain legitimately died.
Yep. What? Oh God.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It turns out our characters are a bit creepy, so bye.
Oh, screw you. So it's Eska who ends the relationship, even though it should be Bolin who has the final say in that matter. Honestly,
Just let her end it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It's
Oh,
it's
hello.
better this way for everyone involved.
Especially Bolin.
what was even the point of that relationship? I
I
mean,
don't even know. It
It's
was
a
supposed to be a joke. That's a faint joke, but supposedly that's the comedy relief subplot.
don't get me.
supposedly.
There were so many more interesting things you could have done with it. I'll go more into that with my
Hold on.
final thoughts.
Wait.
Yep. Now Korra cannot speak to any past avatars. Sucks.
Until it gets retconned in a later season, I suppose.
Not from what I recall. However, something actually is going to change and stay with them.
Wouldn't there be like would that end up causing like a bit of inconvenience? Like, I mean,
Use the Force.
If there are too many spirits running.
Actually, Tenzin, there's still plenty you could teach her, but
Oh, yes. Thank goodness Season 3 actually does recognize that there's more he can teach her. But yeah, Korra's
She's leaving the portal open.
This actually is something that can help, because as we've seen, while maybe at the time of Wan's time, closing the spirit portals would have been a good idea because of Vatu's influence, it's kind of become clear that over the years, spirits have kind of only become all the more distant from humans in many cases. So now might be the better time to maybe try and make things more equal.
Finally, he tells
Yes.
us the truth. I wish you remembered
Wait.
anyway.
Denial.
There you go.
That's convenient.
No, everything you said was warranted. That's
There is such a thing called for the greater good, mate.
This
greater
is
good.
what I hate. The only reason they have Mako not tell Korra is just so that Korra can have a say in saying this won't work. Because let's be quite honest, all Mako had to just say was, we're gonna break up, and he would be the morally superior one. But no, they had to make it so that he couldn't.
I'll believe you when I see it. Okay.
Like, here's the problem. He couldn't, but because they gotta make it so that, oh, Mako couldn't just tell Korra because he didn't want to hurt her. That's not like Mako. Mako's one of the most blunt characters with the truth.
As with the main, what are you doing? Anyway, Jova, as with the main thought thread that has been going on with all
Okay,
these
it's the
this
40
triangle
counts, I
thing,
guess.
the real main question is still one, Jova. Who the hell cares?
Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody really cared about the love triangle. In fact, if anything, more people cared about Eska and Bolin. Like, some people were thinking, maybe these guys might actually be a fun couple. I mean, they've had enough development. Maybe see them try and do it. Nope. By the end, Eska just has lost interest with Bolin.
Alright, there was a
But
Civil
at
War, I
least now
forgot.
Korra's father can be the proper chief now, as he was
Here's
supposed to
another
be.
thing. What was the whole Civil War subplot was just almost pointless.
Well, the result is that now the
Wait, there was a
tribe.
civil war?
Yeah.
I questioned it
was.
a second ago.
The result. The result.
Even it.
The result is that now the tribes are united, only more properly, and Korra's father is the chief as he was meant to be.
What could possibly go wrong?
Okay, while it is admitted that stuff could go wrong, a lot could also go right from this too. Like, let's be quite honest, humanity hasn't exactly benefited the best from being separate from the spirits. This is one of the few good things Book 2 does, if only because, thankfully, this is not retconned out, like a lot of Season 1's stuff.
Well, what I mean is, the show isn't going to make it go to shit.
No! Again, look, sure, part of the surprise of Season 3 was the fact that they managed to avoid what a lot of people feared was gonna go wrong. But regardless of how good free Seasons 3 and 4 are, let's give our thoughts about this season. Yes, Twibs?
Can I go first?
Go on.
Okay, in terms of the finale itself, I'll say that, yeah, at the very least, the final part of the two-parter wasn't quite as annoying as the first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there were a couple of nice moments. But yeah, this is a very problematic season. Honestly, Joba, I think even like some of the early alright, in terms of like quality, I think the middle of season 2 was the better part.
Probably, yeah.
Mainly because of that two-parter. There were some other nice things. I mean, the visuals are great. But again, it's from the last Avatar series. Of course, they're going to be great. Some of the music was nice. What little I could hear, because I remember I had to turn the volume down.
Mm-hmm.
And some of there were a few funny moments.
Yeah.
Everything else was kind of like a middle era Stephen Moffat Doctor Who run.
It really does feel like that, doesn't it?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, down to these basic details. Characters acting overly snarky at times. Whenever a bad episode comes along, it wrecks continuity as opposed to just being a crap episode.
Deus Ex Machina, despite having a character clearly being shown that he or she has to win the situation.
Yeah, and wrecking lore to an extent.
That too.
Honestly, I'm just surprised that they didn't do another Moffat flaw and have like overly powered characters stay overly powered, as opposed to the Russell T Davies era where you can go God mode, but there's consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Korra for like the first half of the season was freaking insufferable.
Yeah.
Well, then again, it's not like the other characters were all that much better. What's his name? Varric?
Varric, yeah.
Varric apparently can go from good to evil like it's a freaking on and off switch.
I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, he literally just escaped from prison. That doesn't show a changing of
We
sides.
don't even know what happened to him so far.
Yeah,
so.
he just broke out of prison and. Well,
it's kind of like Jack Sparrow with very grey morality.
Always at a profit off of any situation.
That's your cod, But yeah, there are some things that improved from season 1, but there are also some things that I did a lot worse than season 1, and that's the baffling thing because this had more episodes, and B, they actually had a plan.
Yeah.
And you'd think they'd learn how to get around Nickelodeon cutting their episodes in half by this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's me done. Again, I wasn't like I said earlier, I wasn't really going to stop the series because well, I'm in it for the long run now.
Yeah.
But well, But yeah, I can definitely see why this season soured so many people to the point where half of series 3 was just put online
Yeah.
because of the low ratings. I mean, I can understand some people getting outraged at half of it being cut and put online, but considering the low ratings were probably partly as a result of how badly this season turned out, I can't exactly say I have a whole lot of sympathy for the creators.
Yeah, here's basically how I went.
Because if they hadn't fucked stuff up, then they wouldn't be in that situation.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
Apollo Justice, which also ruined some things. Basically, here's how it went after Book 2 happened. The fan base was ravaged. A lot of people were not that faithful to tune in for episodes of Season 3. However, when Season 3 caught on that we're back to actually being Avatar levels of good, people came back on. Sadly, by then, it was online only, same for Season 4, even though the ratings when they did air on TV, yeah, that was also weird, were much better. Sadly, though, Book 2 just did the damage.
But
Yeah.
don't worry, Joe. The seasons 3 and 4 did air on TV on Nicktoons.
Yeah.
Context?
Nicktoons is kind of
basically
like Nickelodeon's equivalent
Boomerang.
to Boomerang.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
the worst.
If I had to guess, is where cartoons go to die.
Yep.
a channel that's there, but it doesn't have as nearly as many. It doesn't have nearly as much viewer reach as, say,
The main
main
channel.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thankfully, Legend of Korra surprisingly survived there. Well, again, that was because people finally knew that Season 3 and 4 were better. But even still, oh boy. Anyway, those your thoughts,
yeah,
Strips?
I'm done. Fuck this series, or fuck this season aside from a few things here and.
Alright, who's next?
I'll go since I don't have much to say.
Go on.
Aside from the great animation, the one episode that's basically the series equivalent of Tales of Ba Sing Se, and the one funny moment from the movies with the dying raccoon thing, there really wasn't anything to say about this. I mean, plot points introduced and dropped, Korra being thrown away and then being brought back as a different character, Tenzin not being able to do anything until the last minute, and even then his daughter, or Jesus, sort of dealt with everything anyway.
Yeah.
Again, a villain that came out of nowhere. I mean, this is it's a good thing I didn't have as much attachment to the original series as a lot of you guys did, because at the time that it aired, because I probably would have rage quit at this point too, or even earlier. And that's all I have to say.
Alright then.
Also, that final quote fight was underwhelming. But yeah, go ahead, whoever's next.
Teo, Pedro?
Too.
Sure, why not? I don't know, this is just underwhelming, for lack of a better term. I still state what I said. The reason why I got angry at the season finale of Book 2 of the original series was because I was actually caring about the characters and I was not liking the direction we were taking it. Here, any eventual anger that I have, it's mostly out of frustration more than legitimate caring. Because this season is just a mess, pure and simple. I can see where is the point where the writers actually pulled their head over other asses and actually started trying, but it wasn't enough, and it still showed. I really enjoyed the flashback two-parter, not just for the animation, but for the lore setting.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, it may retcon one thing or two, but I don't think it's that much of a damage dealer. It only raises question for the season finale, like I just said about the regeneration of the spirits, the major spirits. But I guess the show will never tell. Vaatu is
Wait,
just gone.
Oh yeah, that.
Whatever. As for the rest, the character of Korra, boy howdy. Here's the thing. The first half obviously is just pure garbage. I'm more curious in this case on why she was written like that. It's clearly not a simple case of miswriting. There was an intent behind this. That's why I would be really interested to know the reason why she was made with this kind of attitude. Because keep in mind, this is honest. Honestly, I feel a difference with season one Korra. It's almost a bit of a Flanderization, if you ask me, at least for the first part.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the two-parter episode, obviously she starts becoming more focused as a result. The problem with that, honestly, to me, is the fact that they introduce amnesia just to immediately erase it, so you might as well not have had it. And who the hell was that firebender that rescued her anyway?
Oh, those were the firebenders guarding the fire temple. I'm assuming basically they're like the descendants of, you remember the fire temple that Aang and his friends went to, during book 1, the fire sages, yeah.
Wasn't it empty, though?
No, there were still fire sages there. I'm assuming that these people were involved with the fire sages since they knew about how the avatar works, and fire sages were pretty much the Fire Nation's avatar folk, let's say it. The people who were tasked
Sure,
with the
alright.
spiritual stuff in the Fire Nation.
The problem, the major problem to me also, as I stated also in book 1, is not simply the fact of Korra's attitude, is also the lack of people reacting accordingly to her and putting her in the place where she should be at their worst moments. That's also the major focus here. I don't blame Mako in the scene where she slammed the desk because he really has his hands tied down in that
Yeah.
situation. So what is really he supposed to do outside of saying just get out of my life, you know?
Which he did. And we rooted
no,
for
but
him.
it's the thing.
Huh?
But it's the thing. But it's the thing. You think, oh, we should have done something different. No, I honestly sympathize with him
Yeah.
for that occasion. Not so much where he lies to her, when she comes back and he tries just to try to rekindle the relationship. But like I stated, the whole love thing is just pointless. Honestly, it's just it really doesn't go anywhere, and why even bother just dedicating? Because again, the reason why I didn't mind the whole shipping jokes and eventually the relationship that Aang and Katara had in the original series is because the show itself did not really care until the very end, so it was really glossed over, as it should be, if you ask me. I
It
know,
blossomed when it needed to. Like, let's not forget, in book
I
2,
know that these are
Aang's love for
angsty
Katara did also
teenagers
drive some of
with
his avatar training.
hormones up the wazoo, but still. Anyway, as for the rest, might as well cover it quickly. Bowling, I don't know. I get the idea what we were going with him, but aside from that episode where they showcase also the movie in theaters as mentioned, and he gets the chance to be the hero and are you enough of a bad dude to rescue the president? Aside from that, no, I didn't like his comical relationship with the twin. I didn't like his narcissism as an actor for the most part, and I didn't like how he reacted to Mako's situations. Azami is there. She's just there.
Oh, right, Azami was there.
Yeah, that's right. Azami was in this season.
Honestly,
I don't think Azami's even shown in the ending of this
recap
season.
Of what she does in the season. She has an industry. She loses it. She tags with Mako Beat, and then she's just stuck in the South Pole. There you go. There's your contribution. She doesn't even use the gadget of the cult of the first season. Why?
It's as Pedro said, she's just the taxi driver.
She's the Appa, but without what's the character Appa
yeah, that
has.
also brings me
She's
another
a
special...
vaccinated driver. Yeah.
I know this is more of a minor nitpick, but let me just mention this as well. Naga, she did the Korra's mount and companion, almost loyal animal companion, does practically nothing in this season.
I actually forgot that was a thing.
Which is a shame
Like-
because she was such a great help in season 1, and while she does get out, while she does get help out in season 2.
Their major contribution is the scene where Korra threatens the judge.
Oh, and also where
That's it.
Naka tackles Desna and Eska. And now that I think about it, where did Naka go after that? Oh, right, I think Naga took her father back.
The last major scene where we see Naga is when he knocks out the twins. When Boomy does the whole shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, let's talk about the three sons of Vang. Pointless subplot at the beginning. I don't understand the whole Jesus ex machina with the child of Tenzin. Tenzin hopefully will become a better character. He's right now. I have a bit more consideration of him than I had at the end of season 1. I just think this should have happened sooner. Like seriously, because his lack of fending foot down was one of the things that were lacking from Korra's character as well. So yeah, hopefully things will change now. What else is there? All right, the villain. Honestly, I don't understand. It's just these mashup of things that first wants to be a conqueror with the whole civil war subplot that honestly could have easily been avoided or rerailed into something else, or just not have it all together. Like have Vatu being the main villain, influencing the spirits somehow, and have Korra track him down in that kind of fashion. You don't need the whole dark avatar thing. So yeah, and about the ending, sure, why not? Might as well bring it very quickly. The whole kaiju fight is underwhelming. Vatu's avatar in state barely does that. It's very underwhelming. It does some vines to Central City and a couple of waves here and there. That's it. I was expecting it to making volcanoes erupt or some shit, but no. Very underwhelming. And the whole Deus Ex Machina with the girl is just why? So yeah, terrible. Like I said, also by the time of the half point, I would have probably still rage quitted the show altogether. So again, whatever. What I appreciate the fact that the writers actually tried to recover things, and I will see if that still applies in season 3 and 4. It would have been too little, too late for me, and I wish circumstances would have been different. So we'll see how this goes from here.
Well, you and everybody else too, I assure you.
I don't know. I don't know. It's a bit different because I guess in time I will become more bitter towards season 2 as a result. Because right now I'm still a bit on the temper side of things.
Welcome to the Avatar fan club in that regard.
Well, I've seen weird things, Joe. I've seen people doing weird things anyway. Whatever. I'll tell.
Oh, you
more
mean the
comments,
people who
right?
ship Azula and Korra?
Entirely. Yes. Anyway, go ahead, Pedro.
Well, this is where this entire two-parter is where the writers officially. This is where the show officially gives up. Like it gave up. It doesn't even care if it makes any kind of sense. Like pretty much all the rules that have been established have been completely thrown away for the sake of a stupid kaiju fight that doesn't belong in here. Like, was it worth it, Brian and Mike? Was it?
Again, I state like the same I stated in season 1. Honestly, we should have just quitted Nickelodeon and have Nickelodeon choosing someone else to do it because this is a case where money doesn't justify losing your integrity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they did it for the money. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that these are suck, but I don't think they did this just for the money. Like, I will say, I do think that they generally did want to tell a good story here and there. Like, Brian and Mike have never really pegged me as the guys who would do it just for the money. Heck, if they were doing it just for the money, they probably would have jumped ship by seasons 3 and 4. Though, season 3 and 4 are where their outlook on things did change, so
Anyway,
who knows?
continue, Pedro.
It's just, it's terrible. It's god awful. Like the plot makes little to no sense, and even when it sounds like it's going somewhere, it just jumps to another different plot. Like I've said before, the beginnings two-parter should have been its own separate TV special instead of being part of a season. You know, those 2 episodes could have been spent, you know, maybe fleshing out the characters that have yet to be fleshed out. I mean, Azami has yet to do anything interesting in this show. And I still don't give a shit about the Mako and Bolin. Bolin has a personality, but it just comes across as the typical comedy relief, and he's not particularly all that funny. I didn't find his shtick with the movie stuff in this season particularly funny. It was just Mako is still just the generic edgy dude who's just there and doesn't earn his edginess. Korra was a bitch throughout the first half, but then of course, like people already said, that we've rebooted her character at this point. So it's basically the writers admitting their failure, you know.
Well,
And
at least they actually actively do something instead of just continuing to make her miserable.
Thank God.
I guess, but at the same time, it's just, and of course the villain.
It all matters on how you draw the line, Peter. It's just a matter of me, you, or Jova drawing in a different place. So
You should have like if you realized that your character was terrible, why did you even do this to begin with?
Well,
But
to be
anyway.
fair, outlooks tend to change, you know, pre and post failure.
Ugh, whatever. The point is, yeah, like the plot pacing is terrible. The characters, for the most part, are all terrible. I hate Janora's Mary Sue's Jesus treatment that she gets.
I think you mean plot
Like-
MacGuffin.
Whatever. The point.
what was
the
even
point-
up with that? Like,
I have no idea.
I have no.
Sorry.
Someone in the writing team really loves Janora for some reason that I have yet to understand. Because up until this point, she had literally done nothing in this show. She just in season 1 she was just there. In before the whole turns out Janora is the chosen one thing. She was again just still there. For some reason, really loves Janora, and I don't understand why. And they put it as this Jesus thing, and it just comes across as weird and unnecessary, you know. Not to mention, like I said, I really don't like how they treated Tenzin up until this point. Fortunately, now things will change, but yeah, it's just a shame that we had to get to this point. The villain is an absolute joke. An absolute joke.
He is.
Like, seriously, he starts off as a guy who's trying to be he's trying to manipulate the heroes into thinking he's a good guy, even though from his
fairly
design,
miserably, like
even though from,
episode 1.
He was
even
the
though
younger uncle brother to the guy who was originally supposed to be the chief. Even though we didn't know
that's
that
also another
last bit,
thing.
he had
another
points
thing-
going against him
sorry.
from the get-go.
That's also another thing that I forgot, but I still pointed out through this series. What's this obsession for this series and making waterbenders evil and disgustingly OP? I really fail to understand this.
I guess they're trying to prove that.
I guess they wanted to... Actually, no. Waterbending got to be awesome in the original show, so...
Not only
guess
that,
they-
not only
I
that,
guess they
I
tried
get the
to-
idea of making something evil, a different evil than Firebender, fine, but do it like one per season at best, making the villain of this like an actual airbender for a change, you know, that would have even reinforced the potential
Well, in
Dark
that case-
Avatar thing.
well, in that case, Teo, you might like what they do in the third season then.
Yeah.
Joyful.
And the fourth season as well.
Oh, sorry, Pedro, continue.
The villain starts off as supposedly manipulative asshole, even though he's not. He's manipulating all the characters because they're stupid, but the audience is not. So obviously they don't get manipulated.
Technically,
Then
it's
we
only Korra who gets manipulated. Everyone else is pretty much pointing out how much of a bad thing this is.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those again. It didn't even play with that. Like, it wouldn't be so cool if they did something similar. Like, it's kind of like, look. Let's think of it. Like, we immediately noticed that Lunark was going to be evil just because of the way he's designed, because of his facial expressions, all that shit. Because we're used to this kind of stuff. You know, the only thing in recent memory that I can think of where this would work, I guess, again, in Miracle Mask with Aerie, they use that particular expectation against us, making us think that Aerie was the villain. He knew that people would have that reaction. He took advantage of that. That's how a clever writer handles things. In here, they just did things by the checklist, as Taylor would say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just. And after that, turns out he wants to open the spirit portal so he can do something, but he needs Korra to do it because she's the only one that can open them. Okay, fine. Then turns out, I think there's another way. So basically, what you're telling me is that the rules you've been established up until this point were just pointless. Good job. Then after that, we finally get into the spirit world. Again, I'm not going to rant more about the water thing, but you guys know that I find that stupid. So let's move on. Imagine.
I understand. It's hilariously stupid to me.
No. Okay, let me bring up an equivalent. Imagine if in Final Fantasy IX, the plan to defeat Necron is for Quina to throw frogs at it. Like, it's just...
Or eat it. That would be amazing.
Okay, so the basic gist of it is this. So he needs, and then all of a sudden, turns out Unalaq is not even the villain. Vaatu is. Unalaq is just the Golbez of this game. Although even Golbez had a fucking character and a character arc. He's more like X-Def, because X-Def was just a generic villain that nobody...
Here's a better one, Pedro. Sid Reigns.
Sid Reigns from 13, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Sid Reigns. Let's go with Sid Reigns. He's Sid Reigns from Final Fantasy 13. That's basically what he is. He has no point in here. He's just here to be a pawn for the villain. And it gets to a point where his characterization becomes a complete cartoony joke. Like, not to mention Jova's contradiction that he brought up. Okay, so he wants to destroy the world, but he also wants to unite the world. How does that work? You can't unite the world. You can't unite the world if the world is destroyed.
Chaos, I can do anything.
Whatever. And then, of course, he becomes Dark Avatar because wonderful.
Oh, man.
Okay. Brian, Mike, all of these 4 or 5 villain characters you came up with, pick one. You can't have one person be all these 5 tropes at once. Sorry, you can't. There's complexity, and then there's convoluted and nonsensical. So yeah, the villain is quite possibly the worst aspect to me, because the execution, everything about Unalaq's execution as a villain, even the concept, like it's not even a matter of a good concept executed badly. Everything about Unalaq, concept or execution, is terrible.
Like I said, we could have got rid of him and just make Vaatu the main villain, and that would have been just fine. Well, better. Better. Everything about the villain is fucking god awful, and the fact that they wrote this and thought it was good, it's just mind-boggling to me. What else? Okay, fine. The generic good stuff. The animation is great. The music is great. The action is pretty good. Although, again, it's such boring action because I don't give a shit about any of it. I don't get. Special effects are just a tool, a means of telling a story. A special effect without a story is a really boring thing.
Unless it's for like a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, but too bad this is not a PowerPoint presentation. It's terrible. It's everything outside of the animation, music, and action is terrible. Literally everything to me. There's yes. Varric, okay, never mind. Varric is awesome, yes, of course. Though when I usually think of Varric, I think more of seasons 3 and 4 because that's where things get better. But yeah, like Varric is still good. Aside from that, there's the occasional good joke. That it doesn't really those few good jokes just wash away in the ocean of terribleness. So yeah, it's just a terrible second season. And is it any wonder why people hate the season so much? Even the fans, even the Korra apologists admit that this season was not very good. That should tell you something. So yeah, close this off, Joe.
Well, I think you can see why I jumped out a window at the start of the season. Look, I mean, this is an infamous season. Like, again, it is by no means the worst thing Avatar related we've ever got. That honor still goes to the movie. But, man, I mean, it's not even a case like where it's consistently awful, but the major issue that a lot of people, myself included, have it's just a wasted potential here and there. There's wasted potential in so many areas. There's wasted potential in maybe trying to have Korra study more about airbending. There's wasted potential in the spearbending. The biggest amount of wasted potential was why the heck was the season not about the Civil War? That had some of the more interesting plot elements to it. Wasted potential in Bowen and Eska's weird as all heck relationship before it's ended in such a cliche manner of, oh, I'm suddenly not crazy for you, though you'll still have a special place in my heart, even though I put you through hell and back throughout this season, and I get to call it off because I'm the lady in female empowerment, and I'm not going to go that far, though I do find it a bit weird that in both of Bowen and Mako's cases, it's the girls that are given the credibility to call it off. And really, the only reason Korra gets any say in calling it off is because, for all of a sudden, the writers decide to have Mako suddenly be a jerk and not tell an amnesiac Korra the truth about their relationship. Like, really, dude? You've been pretty fine for the most part.
Yeah,
At the last second, they have to write that one trade in for him just to give Korra validation at the later season to call at the end of the season to call their relationship off. Which is what I say. I mean, Mako does get some fleshing out for his character here and there. You're like, well, I appreciate the better bits, but I don't appreciate the bad bits of quote-unquote trying to flesh out his character. I hear making him, I don't know, I wouldn't even call it a compulsive liar. It's just an out-of-nowhere liar. Oh, and that's also so that he and Asami will not get back together because Asami was so disgusted by this, even though, yeah, we get bad glances from her, and while this time at least it's warranted, unlike Season 1. God, what a sloppy way. Like, why even bring up the idea that Mako and Asami would get back together if you're just gonna go, oh, nope. Again, I don't think they were planning that far ahead for Season 4.
Just to suffer.
Actually, the love triangle from now on is pretty much dead.
No, I know that, but why is it still in Season 2? Why? Why are we still doing this?
I have no idea why they brought it back. It's like Tio said. This season improves things from Season 1, but it also comes with many detriments. I believe Dwibs also said that too.
I've heard this apparently also plagued the 2012 Ninja Turtle series, so Nickelodeon must have had a big fetish for love triangle in that time.
Nickelodeon are in some cases
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles product.
Nickelodeon are in some cases worse than Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network have their own issues, but at the very least, Cartoon Network don't have as much infamous executive mandates that screw with the show. That's Nickelodeon's department. And boy,
I mean, the worst
oh boy,
Cartoon Network does is just not air them or put them in bad time slots.
Which, in and of itself, is another problem, but one we're not going to cover because I don't want to be here forever. But yeah, back to the issues with this season. Okay, actually, I will say something good. Varric. Like I said, Varric feels like a character that could have come out of the original Avatar. And thankfully, unlike a lot of some of the most charismatic villains in Ace Attorney, Varric will get to live to see another day since he's escaped. Basically, that was their way of leaving the door open. And even when Varric is technically the bad guy, they don't lean too heavily into it. I mean, sure, the build-up to him being revealed as the bad guy does have some heavy stuff, but after he's ousted as the bad guy, he's not a sore loser about it and still helps the heroes, almost as if, well, when you think about it, he technically only did that stuff for a profit, yes, technically, but nothing out of complete malicious intent. Again, a gray morality, something I can appreciate, which is something the season is lacking much of. Because for a story that's about the balance between dark and light, man, things are very much in light's favor with how you look at them. Like, dark is pretty much evil all throughout. Heck, the moral is even how negative emotions will negatively affect everything. And if they had an idea of balance going about, yeah, that pretty much went and died. I will say this, though. It is nice that they actually do follow through with leaving the spirit portals open and will actually have stuff change the world in it, which is a great thing about Season 3. Yeah! The best things about Season 2 are connected to Season 3, go figure. Very concluded. Back to what was wrong with this season. Okay, this season feels... I'll get to that later. For now, I want to talk about the overall structure here. It's like you guys have said. Unlike Season 1, this one feels like there's more of a plan. The problem is that this feels like it was a plan that was so complex that if anything went wrong, chaos would ensue, and lo and behold, Nickelodeon came forward with that sledgehammer and hammered it down to only 14 episodes, and look at what we got. It feels like a plan, but it drags at some points, really loses interest at others, and when the best points do come up, they feel like they're in a vacuum. Now, I appreciate the Origins episodes, I mean, they definitely do help and do actually connect to the finale of the plot and whatnot. It is
Only loosely, that's the thing, Joe, but only loosely, really. Like, we didn't really need an entire...
I wouldn't say it was loosely, because to be fair, at the end of the day, we are dealing with the ramifications of what started with the Origins, like Vatu being there, the balance between the spirit world and the regular
but
world.
I still think we could have handled that in a short flashback / lore explanation rather than just stop the plot for 2 episodes. And then tell the entire story in a separate TV special. That would have been a better decision.
I wouldn't even say we had to put the plot on hold, even really. I mean, it technically is a part of the plot. No. My main issue was them losing focus of certain plot points and whatnot here and there, which that's a problem with the whole season in general. I can understand why they kept the Origins episodes in there, and hey, it's some of the better stuff in there. I'm okay with them leaving it in there because it ties enough in it to the point where it does feel warranted. What I don't care for are some of the more... Obviously, this episode is just here to cause contrast and turmoil between Korra and her friends. Like, I could get what they were trying to do with Korra in the first half, Make her to a point where she barely trusts anyone because everyone she trusts eventually betrays or lies to her at some point. And, as the Avatar, she has a lot of stress everywhere and whatnot. Problem is, this kind of flies into the face of development she had in Season 1. It definitely feels like the writers had a plan for her character, but we're realizing... oh god, we've created a monster, and thankfully did some stuff with amnesia. Yeah, normally I'm not supportive of this stuff, but Korra was getting bad enough to the point where I'm like, okay, you know what, have her learn her lesson through this pseudo-poor whatnot, and she technically does become a better character of it. Granted, we see more so the result of it in Season 3 and 4. However, the selective amnesia thing was just a stupid means of bringing back that stupid love triangle. Like, god dang. I mean, I guess they wanted to tie up loose ends for sure and whatnot, but I think we had a definitive enough end with Mako calling it off. Like, sure, maybe have them make amends, but we didn't need them to be in this fake relationship just to have it so that, oh, Mako lied, so he did something wrong. Because that's really the only thing wrong he does in this season when you get down to it. Like, for the most part, Mako's the guy trying to do his job. And
the worst shits on him constantly.
Speaking of characters, Lin... you need to go to rehabilitation. Come back and when you're better in Season 3. Lin was one of the better players of Season 1, let's be quite honest. She got stuff done, she was smart, witty, she called out Korra for when she did bad here and there, and she also admitted to her own faults. And she was pretty awesome at it, too. It was nice that she got her bending back. Sadly, we don't get to see much of the fruition of that in Season 2. In fact, she's a lot worse. She's been stooped down to that stereotypical cop where, you're a loose cannon, you're a rookie, I don't have time to listen to you and your silly little theories, get back to work. And all that. It's sad, really. The mystery plot was nice. Of course, it kind of went down that obvious route, and while I am glad that they retained Varric, it is kind of a shame that they had to make him the obvious bad guy. That was a shame. I'm glad, though, that they do bring him back, and thankfully, we won't have as much detours with his character as we did here, and even then, it was just that. Like I said, Varric is one of the main reasons that I was able to get through this season, because he is just the best thing of this season. Like, he's the most consistently good thing, aside from Tenzin, though, to be fair, that's more so Tenzin in Seasons 3 and 4, because Tenzin's a good character, but he gets crap treatment from both the world he's in and the writers. Like, in Season 2, the first half, he's literally relegated to vacation time subplot because Korra blew him off and fired him as her instructor. Holy cow, that turned out to be a bad decision now, didn't it? And, it's nice that Korra finally gets off her high horse in this season. Man, did we have to get through a lot to get to that point. But when Tenzin is allowed to help, he is very, very helpful. To the point where he helps solve how Korra can actually deal with Vatu by the end by doing stuff with that tree and whatnot. And it's nice to see that Tenzin does finally get out of the shadow of his own father, which was kind of also a bit of a meta thing too. Good on Tenzin for that. So Tenzin and Varric did well enough. Bolin! Oh, Bolin. Bolin is a case where, again, he gets better in Seasons 3 and 4. He was getting better in Season 2. Obviously in Season 1, Well, it depends. On the one hand, if you preferred him how you did in Season 1, you probably won't like him in Season 2. If you didn't like him how he was in Season 1, well, Season 2 is an improvement, I guess? I mean, obviously they're trying to make him more than what he was in Season 1, which was essentially Sokka light. You know, the problem is like, well, when he gets his good moments here, especially when he does get to save the president here and there. I will admit, on rewatching, his arc is not as good as I remembered it to be, sadly. I like the outcome of it, but that's just it, the outcome. And the things with Bolin and Eska. First of all, that escalated way too quickly, no pun intended. Secondly, the potential! You had the potential to make Eska the new Azula. Well, obviously Azula a bit less crazy, but you get the deal with her constantly chasing after Bolin. Eska was so on and off with that this season. Well, more like she had a long pause of being on it, then she's off it, but finally when Bolin does re-enter the picture, boom, she's back on it, and to a lesser extent still. And even then, she gets to be the one who calls out the relationship, saying, oh, it's just in the heat of the moment. And I'm like, okay, what about those other times when you chased him with that grimmest look on your face, woman? And again, I would have actually liked to have seen the relationship do something since they were finally starting to treat it somewhat sensibly, or at least have Bolin call her out, but maybe she was right and maybe it was best they just part ways like that on good terms and not bring up all the dirty history. So I guess at worst, Bolin just comes out intact. He leaves with technically more than he had, so fair enough. It still should have been better. Mako, oh god. Mako came in with more, got a lot taken away from him. He's in the state of, I don't know where we're going with this, so best luck next season, Mako. Asami. Yeah, she came out with less.
She was there.
Again, it's... she means less to me than Appa, and that's no dissing to Appa, but that's the thing. Appa meant more as a character, and he was the main means of transportation, but they still treated him as a character there. Asami feels like... well, she feels like... I don't want to say living plot MacGuffin, that's Janora's role. Asami just feels like the person who's there for this or that. Like, hey, I'm here to cause the turmoil of losing my company, or hey, I'm here to provide transport. Sucks. And our villain starts off as Tarlock 2.0. Like, he was literally Tarlock 2.0. Like, okay, yeah, people liked Tarlock. Problem is, the writers tried to somewhat replicate what made Tarlock great. They didn't do it so well. Sure, Tarlock wasn't...
great.
Yeah, a lot of people actually
That's
did
me.
like Tarlock. Anyway, though, the thing is like, well, whatever. Anyway, the thing is like, well, Tarlock, the people liked Tarlock. Yeah, sure, Tarlock was not subtle. So, they made Udoa completely the opposite of subtle, even more so than Tarlock. And you know, I'm not even going to say Tarlock was the most amazing villain ever, but it's clear he was better liked as a villain than Amon was, like, for obvious reasons. The thing is, like, well, Unalaq just feels like Tarlock done to the nth degree, and even then, it completely spirals out of control by the end of the season, where it turns out Unalaq was working for a spirit. Which, when you think about it, his plan got way more complicated than it needs to be, but whatever, he needed Korra's help whatsoever, so complications be complications. He didn't know this or that, he played a gambit here and there, it worked out, except no it didn't, now he's dead. Huh.
Wah.
In kind of an anticlimactic way, too. Look, and before anyone says that, oh, that means they didn't go too high, no, even though the way he was defeated was anticlimactic, the setting was so over the top, Avatar-wise. Two giant spirit kaijus fighting in front of Republic City, the fate of the world to be decided right there and then. Yeah, that's definitely high stakes. How are we gonna top that in the next season? That may be a problem. That is an issue also. Like with Season 1, this season was written like it was going to be the last season. Starting to notice a recurring problem here. In fact, even the writers did too, thankfully, by Season 3. It's just, I get that you're afraid this may be the end, but holy cow, dude, settle down a bit. One more to cover. Animation was great as usual. Music was good. Alright, the family. Holy cow, even the Blue family from Arrested Development aren't this dysfunctional. And, it's funny I brought up a lot of wasted potential. You know one thing people were looking forward to, actually? Tenzin's siblings, when it was first mentioned that they were going to be prominent, it was going to be cool seeing more of the offspring of Aang and Katara, Kaya, Boomy, who we'd already gotten a good first impression of from the ending of the first season, It seemed like it was going to be cool and whatnot. Holy cow, we got family dramas, some funny and nice moments from Boomy, which will come more to fruition in the next season. Kaya's the oldest of the kids. Oh yeah, and they tried to retcon Aang's character into make it that he was a terrible father. Thanks, show. I totally needed that.
Whatever, he's been erased at this point.
Yeah, erased completely. Speaking of which, okay, so for the ending, to make it so that there's a lasting bout of tragedy, what do? Now Korra can never speak to any past spirits now, and I don't know what this means. The Avatar spirit is weakened. They're not clear about that. But, yeah, she won't be able to speak to past Avatar spirits. Like, okay, I get it, People complained about how much of a Deus Ex Machina the ending of the first season was. You didn't have to compensate with it with tragedy like that. Like, holy cow, that closes the door to more possibilities or whatnot. Kind of a shame there. Again, it's amazing how Season 3 turned out to actually be pretty dang good. But that just shows the stage that this season set as a whole. Like with Apollo Justice, well, okay, Apollo Justice didn't make fans lose hope in Ace Attorney. Apollo Justice just made fans hunger for another Ace Attorney game to finally set things right. Legend of Korra, though, did something arguably worse. Well, with Book 2. Book 2 made people legit either scared or not interested in what was to come next. And it really is a shame. I could see there were some good ideas here, but they couldn't adapt them properly. Thankfully, they learned that lesson all the more, and I know it's probably becoming a bit of a mantra, me saying that Season 3 is definitely better, y'all, but I really do mean it when I say that Season 3 and 4 are miles better, to the point where it does feel like the writers who actually made Avatar are back in spirit. No pun intended, based off of this season. So, that was Legend of Korra, Book 2. We did this thing about, we've only been commentating on this thing for a month, and yet it feels much longer after this season in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was Book 2. Sadly, a case.
That's what Book 2 will do to you, Joe. It burns you out.
Yeah,
It
well.
sucks out your soul like a dementor.
Well, folks, that was Book 2. And for those of you who do enjoy it, more power to you. I'm sure there's reasons you do. Maybe someday I'll find out more about that. But as you can probably tell, Book 2 was pretty much nigh the last straw. But thankfully, Book 3 came. And I believe that Book 3 can save the series. Yeah, obvious joke be obvious.
We'll see.
See you next time, folks, for Book 3.
Alright,
Book 3 called...
What was the name of the Book 3 again? I forgot.
Change. Real
Change.
change.
That's it. Okay.
But
see you then.
book 3 were better this time, we swear.
Yeah, Book 3 Change.
See you.
See ya.
See ya.